Today's funding announcement brings us one step closer to vastly improving the quality of the municipal wastewater that we discharge into our ocean environment and allowing us to meet modern environmental standards. I am pleased to see this regionally significant initiative moving forward.
And I'm very pleased to be here with Minister Chong, Ms. Blackwell, Mr. Young, Mr. McBride, and all of you to celebrate, indeed, a big step forward. Because I'm here to announce a critically important initiative that will protect the marine environment around Victoria and southern Vancouver Island for future generations. It's a project that will create local jobs, leverage private sector innovation, and contribute to the long-term health and well-being of Vancouver Islanders. You know, the ocean is indeed something that we're all very proud of as West Coasters. It's a valuable resource for recreation, for tourism, for the economy, and indeed to our quality of life. And we guard our oceans, and we want to keep them safe and clean. And keeping the marine environment and keeping it clean is indeed a key priority for all British Columbians and all Canadians and for our government. That's why I'm very pleased to be here today on behalf of Prime Minister Stephen Harper to announce over $253 million in federal funding for the construction of a regional wastewater treatment system here in the Capital Regional District. This is $250 million to stop and to end the dumping of sewage into the waters around Victoria. Today our government is delivering on a campaign commitment made by Prime Minister Harper before we took office. The CRD had presented this project as a priority for the region. When I became regional minister for the province of British Columbia last year, when I came over here and met with stakeholders, this was again identified as the top priority for Victoria and for the CRD. And the Prime Minister recognized then, and we recognized last year, and that's why we are here today, to make sure that this project moves forward so that we do have a cleaner ocean and job creation here in Victoria and around the South Island. The new core area wastewater treatment program will consist of 3 projects: the McLaughlin Wastewater Treatment Plant and Marine Outfall, a biosolids energy center, and conveyance system upgrades. Work will begin this year on these projects. It will begin this year. Together, this system will protect the Strait of Juan de Fuca and ensure that treated wastewater will meet national standards under our new federal wastewater systems effluent regulations. Funding for these projects will come from the Government of Canada's Economic Action Plan and the Building Canada Fund, and the P3 Canada will invest in the Biosolids Energy Centre. Public-private partnerships are an innovative solution to our long-term infrastructure needs. Our government encourages proponents of major infrastructure projects to explore P3 funding options to ensure the best value for taxpayers. Affordability and sustainability over the long term are indeed key. And P3 projects ensure on-budget, on-time delivery of public infrastructure by leveraging the expertise of the private sector towards the public benefit. Projects like the Biosolids Energy Centre show how governments and the private sector can work together to provide innovative solutions to the construction and operation of critical infrastructure. Our government is proud to support the Capital Regional District's projects. By investing in this important initiative, we are following through on our commitments. In 2006, we have worked together with the provinces and territories and municipalities all across the country and delivered significant investments to improve infrastructure across the country. And in fact, the province of British Columbia is receiving more money for infrastructure projects than any time before in Canada's history. And from coast to coast to coast, communities like Victoria and Saanich, Oak Bay, Esquimalt, Langford, and West Shore are experiencing the benefits of our infrastructure investments. Here in British Columbia, we have seen more dollars put forward to these projects than ever before, and we will continue on this path right across the country because it's one of the best ways to create local jobs and to help local communities remain among the best places in the world to live, to work, and to raise a family. As we gather here today, rest assured that our government remains focused on creating the right conditions for economic growth and long-term prosperity for all Canadians. That includes predictable long-term funding to help municipalities address their infrastructure needs, and also to make sure that the priorities of local communities are understood in Ottawa. Not projects that are designed in Ottawa and forced onto municipalities, but listening to Victoria, listening to the CRD, listening to British Columbia, and taking those ideas to Ottawa and coming back with results like we're going to see with the project that we're funding here today. So I want to thank all of you very much for your patience and for being here. I know this is something that has been thought about and talked about and debated and theorized over for a very long time. But construction is beginning soon. Work begins this year. The funding is now flowing, and the partnership has been built. And this investment from the federal government of over $250 million to end the dumping of raw sewage into the waters around Victoria, its time has come, and we're taking action. I want to thank all of you for your partnerships and for making sure that this good project will move forward. Thank you all very much.
As Minister Moore has said, this is a very complex project with multiple facets to consider, and everyone is to be commended for their efforts. We have to determine the design, we have to determine the location, we had to determine the procurement strategies, and the CRD was able to do that throughout these years amidst a lot of public involvement and consultation. So once again, thank you to all of those who have been a part of this project today. Look forward to seeing those shovels in the ground. Thank you very much, Geoff.
This has been a really long time coming. I think it's been 6 years since we announced that the federal and provincial governments were helping us to plan the project, and we got about $10 million towards the planning of the project. So it's wonderful to be here today to actually talk about funding that will get shovels in the ground and that will provide jobs for the citizens of this region. I think there's something like 10,000 person years projected to be accomplished in this project. And so it's not an insignificant thing for us to be announcing. The Coria Wastewater Treatment Program will significantly improve the wastewater treatment in our region. And I want to assure people that even though people say Victoria doesn't treat its sewage, it's not true. The Saanich Peninsula has been treating their sewage for many years, and their project, although smaller than ours, was almost as complicated and took practically as many meetings. Today's announcement opens the door for many opportunities in the region in terms of resource recovery. And in fact, our Saanich Peninsula treatment project has a thermal energy recovery project with heat recovery technology that it's relevant, useful, and operable in the region. We have an opportunity to utilize this technology in the new wastewater treatment plant, which will contribute further to eliminating greenhouse gas emissions, and by harnessing renewable energy resources that are already present and usable in our communities, we can preserve more of the world's resources, creating greener, more sustainable planet for future generations. This is a legacy that we can all be proud of. So on behalf of the municipalities of Colwood, Esquimalt, Langford, Oak Bay, Saanich, Victoria, and View Royal, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the federal and provincial governments for their funding contribution. Your investment brings us one step closer to providing effective, innovative, and environmentally responsible wastewater for our residents. And as has been mentioned, this will be some of this will be a 3P project. So we will be looking for investment and innovative technologies to come forward from the private sector in our region, which will enable investment from companies across the province and probably across Canada. This is a significant project, and there's a lot of work that yet remains to be done.
Good morning. I'm delighted to be here today alongside Minister Moore, Minister Chong, and Councillor Blackwell to speak about the P3 Canada contribution towards the Biosolids Energy Centre project. Across Canada, governments have recognized the value of engaging private sector innovation to build more for less, to help fill the infrastructure gap, and deliver greater value for our taxpayer dollars. As a result of our collective efforts, Canada has quickly become a global leader in the use of public-private partnerships. At PPP Canada, we work to leverage opportunities to increase P3 knowledge and capacity, to shape the Canadian P3 market, and promote a culture of P3s. We do this by providing expertise and incentives to jurisdictions to consider P3 models for the procurement of their public infrastructure through the P3 Canada Fund. The Government of Canada, through the P3 Canada Fund, looks to invest in projects that are well structured and deliver value for money, demonstrate substantial risk transfer to the private sector, establish public benefits, and promote jobs and economic growth. And this project today does all of those things. The Biosolids Energy Centre project clearly established public benefit, demonstrated that the procurement of the project was well structured, and that would achieve significant value for money as a P3. In fact, it is estimated the P3 procurement option for the biosolids component will save the CRD millions of dollars over the life of the asset compared to traditional procurement. As a P3, the CRD will be able to harness greater private sector innovation and leverage greater risk transfer over the whole life cycle of the project, allowing the realization of greater value for money for taxpayers. We continue to see tremendous interest in water and wastewater projects through the P3 Canada Fund from municipalities like the CRD of Victoria, who are looking for innovative and cost-effective ways of upgrading their water and wastewater treatment facilities. And we expect this project to serve as a model for future wastewater projects across the country. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize the work and collaboration of Jack Hull and the entire CRD team, who've done just a tremendous job with us and with our colleagues in the province of BC. We look forward to working with the CRD of Victoria through the various stages of the procurement to ensure success at each phase of the project's life cycle, thereby providing residents of Victoria with start to finish accountability. Today's announcement once again shows what can be achieved when governments and the private sector work together. Thanks very much for being with us today.